everyone, and thank you very much for tuning in. I, of course, am Rotype. I hope you liked that brief little time lapse we did. It was pretty short, as you saw, but in actual working time, it was about an hour's worth of work there just to produce what you see here, what you saw in the time lapse and what you see here. And it was pretty much just this block. There was really nothing else going on that entire time, which kind of gives you, I'll go over here to avoid those sirens, kind of gives you an idea of how long some of this detailing work takes. And so I think I'm going to continue to do that kind of stuff, either in time lapses. Some of it I might not record at all because, again, we've talked about this before, but as you can see, this is all of Port McCarthy. And there's all these little areas that need work. Looks like it's getting dark. I wonder, I must not have... Oh, interesting. I have this on pause, but we're still changing time. This is new. I do know that Judez has updated iCandy, Ultimate iCandy here to now have time of day in here, which is super useful and would lead me to uninstall this mod, but I would like to be able to pause. No, it appears to not be working. Oh well. We'll just have to play some games with the sun. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. I'm probably going to do a lot of this other detailing stuff, either in time lapses or just off camera and show you guys, you know, maybe once every few episodes, I'll go over several blocks. I'll probably do one of these next. And, you know, if it's like an hour's worth of work to do this one, and then another hour to do that one, and then another hour to do this one, maybe I won't do it every episode, but I will just kind of recap some of the close ones together. But as you can see, it's a lot of detail, and I really like how it came out, especially this area I was focused in on when I started. This little metallurgy shop building, I think it's a cool building, and then I'm really, I think, coming along in learning how to use these decals right and getting these done. I really like how it worked out. So it's just a process. So let me know if you want to see it all. You want to see some of it. You want to see it in summary. But like I said, I'm probably going to do some of it or most of it off camera from now on, or at the very least in time lapse. But today we're going to go back over to the city. We're going to continue our trend of kind of leaving the port alone for a while. And I'll show you a little bit why as well. Let's actually close some of these menus here. The main reason here is this huge industry demand. And you'll see here, we're capped out on industry demand. And you would think, well, why don't they work over here? And or why shouldn't I be working in here to build more industries? But as you'll see here, we have these highly educated people working in this industry that needs lower educated. And it's kind of been a trend in the Cities Skylines community, people complaining about, my city is too educated for these type of jobs. And the kind of common retort is educated people can work jobs that are they're overeducated for the job. And what I've been witnessing here is that is definitely true. You see here 30 highly educated people are working here. And then there are 150 jobs here, or I guess 138 jobs here that only need an educated level, and they're not being filled. So there must be some ratio, I suppose, that the highly educated people can't fill, or maybe highly educated people can only fill in well-educated jobs, and then well-educated people can only fill obviously their own tier and educated jobs. I'm not exactly sure how it works. So another useful mod I have here to kind of help figure this out is, and I don't remember the name of the mod here, but this employment details page here, you can see we have 4 uneducated people in the city, four whole uneducated people in the entire city of 24,000. We have 61 educated, and then here, so 95% of our 3,000 or so well-educated people are employed. And then all these highly educated people, 9,000 of them, they're only 44% employed. So what that says to me, and again, I kind of just stated this, but it suggests to me that highly educated people can only fill certain percentages of jobs. And actually, maybe it's not even tier based, because if highly educated people could work in highly educated and well-educated jobs, then this would fill up a little more, I think. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but the moral of the story is you see all of these, or a lot of these industries need lower educated people, and a lot of our well-educated people have no jobs. So before we start working down in here, which it will in general create more low education jobs, I either need to build kind of a low educated area away from this college and with a district policy. Let's see if I can find the policy tab here. The education boost. So I put the education boost policy only really on the college, which I don't think it actually makes a lot of sense because there's no residential there. I just kind of like organizing my districts that way. But there is also, here it is, the schools out policy to encourage them to not go to college. So I'll have to build a district and put that policy in place. But I don't really want to do it here because I want this to be, this is not quite downtown, but it's sort of downtown. It's in the main part of the city, and I don't necessarily want that to be our kind of slum is a strong word, but our less educated area, I guess. So anyway, that's a long way of saying we're not going to work on industry for a while. We need to get highly educated jobs, and then probably after that, we will get lower educated Sims, and then we will finally go back to working on kind of the lower educated industry positions. A lot of that talking. What are we going to work on today? What we're going to work on is this kind of corner area. So previously, I've dragged this avenue out, and I made it just like this, kind of, as I was talking about, parallel with the highway. And I still haven't decided if I want to depress the highway to be sunken, or if I want to elevate it, or how I want to actually delineate these. I do want these to be grade separated. But in the meantime, this does kind of leave this triangle, which sometimes can be kind of awkward. You get these odd little triangles. It's kind of locked off from pretty much everything else. You have this big highway, which is definitely a barrier, and then a large avenue, which can or cannot be a barrier, depending on a lot of things, I guess, crosswalks in real life and all that kind of stuff. In City Skylines, it doesn't seem to be too much of a barrier for people, but I'm going to treat it that way because, I'm trying to model real life, and in real life, it would be a bit of a barrier. So I apologize for these ugly district lines, and my obsession with at least cleaning up the ones we'll be near. But I'm going to make this a new district in here, and this is going to be probably, I don't know, low income is probably not quite the what I'm after. It would be like middling to low income. They're not going to be like slums and shacks, but probably like project housing that you see. I mean, it is again in like a downtown. I think our downtown, like I said last episode, is going to be this area with the really tall buildings. So this is a downtown-ish area. And so you'll see, towers, not necessarily high towers, but towers. And it'll be the state assisted housing or something like that. So that's what we're going for here. And Elizabeth Park is actually not a half bad name for kind of a project area. What I am going to go through and look at the policies here. I might actually do the schools out here. I don't necessarily want them to be uneducated, but we'll go ahead and see how that goes. Let's add just a few other things here. That's fine. Taxation. I never really know what to do with taxation here, so I almost never use any of that. What else here? I think the rest of this is probably fine. And most of these will probably be Rico. If I need to, I'll come back and deal with themes. So as I said, these are going to be kind of a project housing area. Whoops, that was the wrong button. So we'll go ahead and take a look. And so these are the shacks that Beard Monkey has built. Those will definitely use somewhere. That's not the level we're looking at here. Here we're going to be skipping ahead. And yeah, so possibly these Robert Taylors, possibly these Stuyvesant Towers. These are a little bit nicer, these lofts. I mean, I can see how they may not be that nice in real life, but they're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of cool looking, depending on whether or not they've been renovated and taken care of. And then we have all these tenements, which I may or may not want to use. I guess let's plop a few and see. So yeah, they're kind of, well, let's see. Oh, I've actually had good luck with my sun now. Has it actually paused? Looks like it might have. Although now it's locked. Having just some interesting things happening with this. The combination of these two mods, I think. Maybe the fact that I sped it up and then paused it again managed to pause this. But anyway, let's go back to taking a look at some of these assets I have for this project. Fortunately, we have to re-scroll every time. So let's see, that one was maybe this one, or maybe one that looks like it. Looks the same. Okay, so there's that one. There's this one. Let's go ahead and bulldoze that so we're not thinking we have the same thing. I believe this one is different. No, am I going crazy? Pay a little more attention as I'm doing this. Okay, here's a Soviet. There's a big one. And you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to just draw out a dummy road. I don't even want it connected to that road in case it affects my zoning. I'm going to draw out a dummy road and just lay out all of my buildings for me to look at. And then from there, I'll be able to decide what I want to go with. So first, I suppose we have this one here and its twin, which is just a different color. And man, we're having issues with the sun again. It's not actually moving, but maybe it's just the angle compared to what we're looking at. So let's see. Normally you'd think, yeah, put it like straight up in the sky. You wouldn't have these really dark looking shadows. See if I can do anything about that. There we go. All right. So let's at least, for now, we can look at it from this angle. And I'll have to, off camera, go in and fiddle with the sun a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, so we have that. I'm just going to place one of these, even though we have a whole bunch, because they all look the same. This will just remind me of what it is, what I have, the whole set. And then, again, let's just bring this out so I can place a few more. And we'll start placing these Soviet ones, beginning with this one. And its lower level friend that can actually fit in there. This is a little bit nicer. I believe that's modeled off of a Korean building or something. So we'll probably get to that when we go into the downtown area. And there's another one of those Korean ones. There's this one. Another green one. What is this? USA Apartments. Oh, those are kind of nice. Not for this area, but the model is nice. Another USA Apartments, some lofts. Another one of these. What else? There's USA Apartments, lofts, Hampton Inn. That is in the wrong category. And some, okay, I thought I had a few more project buildings, but it looks like this might be what we are working with. So, how do we want to do this? I think I'll probably have a couple different sections. Maybe I'll divide it into two. So I'll go ahead and put maybe a entrance road. Sure, that looks good. And we'll go through and see if I want to pick one of these nicer looking roads. I might not want to allow parking on this road, but we'll come back to that later. From here, it's pretty much just what do I want to lay out. Now, I think, as I said, I'm going to go with two kind of different complexes. One will be probably a mixture of this Robert Taylor that kind of blends in with these Stuyvesant homes. And then the rest will be a mixture of these Soviet type buildings. Now, I have to leave some space for parking because you usually see either a garage, which I don't really want to do here, or just kind of open-ended parking area. And I think the way I want to do it is actually, if we're in the right category here, let's go ahead and find out. Oh, that does face, okay, so I want this area facing the road. And do I want it on the corner? Yes, I think I do. And if I could fit two of them, there we go. So let's go ahead and bulldoze these because we've used them. I don't think I'm going to use them anymore. And this will kind of form a courtyard area. And actually, I think I want them to be together as they're just one long building. There we go. How does that look? There another, oh, there's a little bit of space I need to close. Tighten that up. Great. So that looks pretty good. Yeah. So here's just one big project building. And now that I'm looking at it and talking about how big it is, let's just see, I'm curious. 70 households. You definitely fit more people than that in real life, but Cities Skylines does have some interesting population characteristics, I guess is the best word. So let's see from here. I'll go ahead and just connect this so I can. There we go. And actually, you know what? We're going to do this with a pedestrian road because I like the bollards that you get. Although, I don't know if I want a full-on intersection. Yeah, I don't. Change my mind. Let's go back to landscaping paths. Because if I'd use that pedestrian road, it would automate the bollards here, which I think I am going to place when I get into the detailing, but I don't want to have a big old intersection here, with especially breaking the median, so that's fine for now. Next, we will figure out how I want to lay out the rest of these buildings. So I decided to go with these Stuyvesant buildings, and I think a line up the middle might be good. Parking on the edges, and then actual green space. So let's just bring this into here and up. And let's see what I can come up with. I do like this one. Maybe, let's see, is Anarchy on? Yeah, let's turn Anarchy off to make sure I don't do anything really weird. And actually, because I kind of want the buildings in the middle, which means the road has to be a little offset. Let's, I think maybe this one might be better. See how that looks. Yeah, it's still a little bit. Okay, so let's just do that. And now let's see if I can match the road so this will behave nicely. I was probably just off by one before. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. We'll does this, turn Anarchy back off, and see what kind of interesting shapes we can come up with while still getting these kind of snapped to roads. I don't necessarily want, well, actually that one's okay. Now the next thing, want another one with an interesting shape. I don't know if this is the same one or not. Maybe this one. No, I do kind of like this with the angles. I think I kind of want it like there. Now, which way? I guess it doesn't really matter. If I put the road on the right, I want to keep this shape, or this orientation, I should say. Actually, let's do this out one. Put another of, where to go here? This. Same thing. Now let's look at, I don't necessarily want to close in the courtyard. Which way does it have to go? Nope, that would close in the courtyard. There we go. This way. Like that. That's what I want. So how do I get that? I bring this road out. And see, hopefully this will match up. Which one was it? This one? All right, good enough with the help of Move It to just give these a little bit of a touch up. There. Now that is pretty square looking, actually. I don't really need something else to break it. So what if I, let's see, how do I want to orient this slightly differently. No, I want it opposite of that. This, yeah, that way. So I need the road in on the top. Now let's just see, make sure this is the way I want it. There. Now how does that look? A little bit less boxy. Yeah, okay, so let's see if I can get this to work the way I want it to. We can replace that path later. Now, is this one? Yes. Close enough. Now, again, with the help of Move It, the issue here, though, is to make sure, we have to do this manually. There we go. The issue here is this road needs to connect to this road, which needs to actually be a road, because otherwise the fire and police coverage won't come. I think I like this better. Yeah, because we need the police to be able to actually get there. Now to do that, I wonder if I can just run this under. Run it straight like that. And if we're lucky, it's not complaining yet, but it probably will. If we're lucky, this will count as connected. Wonder if I turn the simulation on, is it going to complain? Doesn't look like it. Okay. So I'm going to take a quick cut and detail this area just with parks and some parking. And we'll be back in a second to do the second half of our project. Okay, welcome back. This is what we ended up with. Just some pretty basic detailing. As you can see, I added this parking lot here, and really what does the deal, what makes everything look integrated and nice, is this fencing. I really like this, I believe it's called like brick and steel fence or something. This one here, and I like the brick because it goes with the project kind of buildings here that we've been using. And then the steel kind of, I don't know, makes it not just a big flat brick wall. So I think it works really nice. It's this lower level too, so it's not necessarily obstructing your what's the word, like sight line so much. So just kind of went around the main areas. I decided to just kind of end it up here because once you're interior to this complex, you don't really, at least I feel like you don't really need the fencing. You know, none of these are fenced. It's just kind of where the cars are going to be driving. You just get this little bit of fencing. And then, actually, I'm thinking about whether or not I want to put some vegetation on here, and I think I do. So we'll go ahead and do that live, because it will only take a few minutes. The reason I do a lot of that stuff in either off camera or time lapse is because it can take a very long time, and not even necessarily like it's monotonous or anything. I mean, I suppose at some point it is, but really it just, I don't know, the episodes can take so long if I do it all live, and then I don't know, I just feel like it's conducive to a time lapse to do details. And then obviously in a situation like this one where I've already done my time lapse for the episode, I just felt like it was better to take a cut. So as always, let me know what you think about it, if you'd rather see it or not. But I hope the method I used for this episode worked out for everybody. Now, am I crazy? It looks like time has started again, and I did not do anything with the clock, with the time of day, while I was doing, while I was in that cut, while I was doing all these details. So I do not understand what's going on with time right now, but probably by the time this video goes live, it will be fixed or I'll have an idea of what is going on. But that explains the dimming going on right now. You are not having a stroke. It's actually getting darker. And we might actually be able to take advantage of that, because when it gets dark, we can look at the way the lighting is. This parking lot is, I don't know if you can really tell, hopefully not, but I guess you can with these light poles. This is a big parking lot, and then I had to add just kind of some extra border parking lot. The rest of them are painted on. So we'll have to see how the lighting works and possibly add some of our own light poles. That's something I don't necessarily do as much as I should. I do like the way the city looks at night. I think it's pretty cool. But because I spend most of my time in daytime, I don't necessarily realize that I need to add some nighttime related details. And what that often results in is me going to take a nice nighttime screenshot. Okay, let's get a good, I get a good vantage point and turn it down to nighttime. And when I take a look, of course, there's no lights. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that in just a second. There we go. All right, so that looks good. I know now it's dark. And here we go, perfect timing. So we turn on the lights, and that's a good time for me to go in and say, lights. Now, I don't think it's this one. I don't know why this one is not lit. Maybe it has to get a little darker out. I believe it is the next one, maybe this one, because it's that, yeah, I want to match the color. So let's go ahead and just place this here and here. So that matches that. It does look like we need something else over here. I think I might just add another row of these. Cover that. And that'll be our parking lot lighting. Now, I don't really even have a path back here, so I'm okay without lights in the back. These paths come with their lights. The street has its lights. Yeah, okay. I'm good with that. So, let us experiment a little. Yeah, so this one's definitely out of commission. Bring it back to daytime. I wonder maybe if I right click, so it's green sometimes. I don't know when it goes to the other color, but we'll go ahead and fill in this, I don't know, secondary project, other project. Now, these buildings don't really have too much shape to them, and they're also pretty small. So I don't know that I'm necessarily going to be doing any kind of, this one, it was the shape of the buildings that described, or that determined how I was going to do the design. This I am going to, I think, just bring out a space for parking. Maybe that big, and this will be parking. Now, I don't think I want to intersect with the main road. How do I want to do this? Maybe just, oh, of course, went ahead and did that for me. Let's just do that and find parking. Whoops, if I could spell, or perhaps type parking. Hopefully this is 8x4, 8x6. Okay, great. I was hoping that would be pretty much the size we wanted. I'll go ahead and move this just a little bit in. Give a little sidewalk space. Sure. That looks good. And now we'll just go ahead and start placing the buildings. So if I take a look again at my kind of demo table here, I have this one big one. I believe that's this one. Yeah. So I want to be careful where I put the big ones, just because they're the ones that are going to stand out the most. And I think actually, do I want them along the highway? It might be kind of cool. So let's see if I can make that work. I want this basically parallel. And there we go. Now let's find it's too bad this toolbar doesn't go with Rico. Big ones here. Wait for an autosave, and I think 2 is fine. Yeah, and they're backed like right up against the highway. I think that works. Now, do I want to do anything fancy here? Maybe if I do something like this, now this is going to be tricky to do, I think. Let's see if I can get one intersected. Just place it there for now. Actually, no, bulldoze. I think I want the front to be that way. And if I move it up like this, how well do they mix together? Go just up a little bit there. Now, how about the sun? Can I at least move the sun? Yeah, okay, I can at least move the sun. So that looks fine. The trees are not too badly on the concrete. Now, what about bulldozing this? Is it going to complain about no road access? Hard to tell. So, let's try and cut off the road here. And there, yeah. So I kind of like that. I do have to deal with this being a road, but what if I convert it to a pedestrian road? It'll be at least a little smaller. I don't like those lampposts in the middle, but at least it looks a little bit more like a path now. And we do have to connect this path to a real road again, so things like police and fire will connect. So yeah, they're the bollards. That works, I think. I like how that shows up. That is probably one of my favorite features of the network extensions, like pedestrian road things, is those bollards that automatically show up. I think that's really cool. And all right, again, I think I want to combine this into maybe a T, maybe an L. How does that? Yeah, that one looks half decent. So again, we're gonna try and connect all these together. Let's see if that is enough space. Find, here it is. Now I want to make sure which side is the front? The front has these little, are they steps? Yeah, they're kind of awning type things. Now that is backwards. I think what I can do though is, yeah, let's turn off zoning here. Then I will place my Rico building. Where'd it go? Here it is. Space already occupied. Oh, yeah, well, I'm gonna have to move it in anyway. And then we'll turn zoning back on because I do want to be able to at least have the option of zoning on the other side. So we'll go like this and just drag these in. Let's just make them touch and see how that looks. Okay, so the roofs are touching, but the actual apartments are not. How about that? Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Put in some fencing and stuff on the back. And this leaves kind of an interior grass area. Maybe more parking now. I think I want another building over here. So let's jump into some of these other ones that I haven't used as much. Now let's look here. I think yeah, I want these ones with the colors. I think those look better. There's this one, and then another one in here, right there, the other one. Okay, good. So what can I do with that? I can put one here, and again, I'm gonna try and get them kind of connected because I think, I don't know, I think it looks cooler, looks better. So let's see how that looks on the inside. If I can get the sun around, there we go. That's useful. Now I know these are different colors, but I'm gonna pretend that, oh, I don't know, like the one of them is built before the other, and because they're kind of lower income housing, they don't care. They just built it together. So there, that looks pretty good. Now, I think what we can do over here is just make some more parking, because I don't think we need to necessarily go into a big, another building or anything. So, although that would be another road off the avenue, I think I'm okay with that, just for parking. And we'll probably do something on this side to make that intersection a little bit more useful, worthwhile. Oh crap, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Parking. Oh, already had it typed in, but that's fine. Now, is this an 8x6? It's even bigger. I think I want to reduce it to an 8x6. So to do that, I suppose I'll just have to count 8. Actually, is it 8 units? Is that what this just says 8x6 units? Oh, gotta be units. Now I didn't really like that, so I'm gonna go actually 9 units. I'm gonna bulldoze this to replace it, and now let's try this. So if I'm correct in what I'm assuming here, it's an 8x6 parking lot, which fits best in a 9x7 space. That looks pretty good. And I'll leave some space. I'll build some kind of like these curbs around. And that will be that. The last thing we need to do is connect this. And this one actually has to be, well, it doesn't have to be, but to make any sense, it has to be a like road, a road, as opposed to a pedestrian road, a vehicular road, I should say. There we go. So we get the bollards, we get some space, we get the nice buildings and the shape, the kind of unique shapes that I like, and some extra space here. I like this a lot. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this week's episode. I certainly had a great deal of fun filming it. This was one of the more enjoyable projects I've done recently. There's been a little bit of detailing you all didn't get to see. I do try to keep these episodes not too long, so I went ahead and detailed that second area of the projects off camera. You'll see here as we go by. I also added just a couple more buildings, just squeezed them in. I figured this being a low-income area, they would try to fit as many buildings and housing units in the space that they could. I do try to capture all of my off-camera work, if not in time lapses, in cinematics, or screenshots. If you want to make sure you catch everything, if you really want to know every detail, at least everything that I've recorded, feel free to follow me on Twitter or even at deviantart.com. I'm under there as Rowtype. That's where I put on all of my screenshots, the good ones at least. And you'll be able to get a better idea if you've missed anything. If you did miss it, I did release episode 9 on Tuesday, which is not our normal release schedule. I am going to try to go up to 2 episodes of Cedar Valley Redux per week. So if you want to make sure you catch them all, make sure to subscribe. We'll see how long this 2 per week schedule goes, but at this point, I think it's promising. I'm going to try and get this content out and work on this project because it seems to be what everyone wants to see. With that said, I should be back on Tuesday. I hope to see you then in another episode of Cedar Valley Redux, if not before then with something else on my channel. As always, thank you very much for tuning in. My name's been Rowtype, and I'll see you next time.